like I enjoy it. I can just feel the grind coming. Like I can feel like there's going to be some point in the not too distant future where I'm going to be like, the interview was fun, but I have to edit that episode. So,
Do it.
if this is your first time.
Wait, I'm Cami. This is Rick.
Oh, yeah. Hi. I mean, you've been in this production meeting long enough. You're one of the family. You know how it goes. But if you happen to be somebody who's just tuning in for the first time to say, what is this mildly interesting people thing?
Oh, go watch one of the episodes where we interview people instead.
Yeah, this is this is not for the faint of heart. This is behind the scenes. This is unscripted, behind the scenes, no plan. Well, it's sort of scripted. The questions are scripted, but really just to give you, our production crew, a chance to provide feedback, get details about what's going on with the podcast, get to know more about your host, the talent, Cami Kaos, and your producer, Rick Turoczy, who's here behind the scenes, but often in front of the camera somehow.
Always in front of the camera somehow.
Whoa. So I think we're at this point where we're kind of starting to hit the doldrums, where we've had people who are close to us, who are excited about this, who have subscribed or whatever, and now we're hitting the grind where we just need to keep producing content as best we can and improving gradually. But let's count just February, right? So we did January 27th or something, but February, March, April, we're kind of hitting that point where everybody drops their podcast, they drop their video, they drop their blog, like they're not actively publishing anymore. And I feel like this is really the point where we need to focus on just pushing through regardless of what we're seeing in terms of feedback.
I have some feelings about that, and I think I will share them if you would like.
Please do.
I think that I am in the incredibly privileged spot of enjoying the show even more than you do. I get to wake up and say, hey, let's record today, or oh my gosh, we're going to talk to this person today. And I am not the person who's doing the hard work of editing and putting together and releasing. I'm also not the person who is doing the hard work of tracking all the stats. I'm also not the person who's in love with all the stats. Like, you love the stats and you work hard on the stats. I don't feel it. So from a content perspective, I feel like we're hitting our stride for the first time. I feel like we have had some wildly interesting guests on the show, but we erred on the side of people that we knew well enough to know that they would be incredibly patient with us as we built up this podcast. And we're starting to finally move into people that we're not that worried. We're no longer as worried about them being gracious and kind if we screw something up, because we feel like we actually can bring the show to completion. So I think that and I think this is beneficial to have us in different roles. I think that while you have this feeling that we're in the doldrums and that things are getting really hard, I'm super amped up to keep going. And I know I've got 2 business trips for my work on the horizon, and I'm planning around all of that and trying to make sure everything continues to work while I'm gone. But I'm jazzed. I'm super excited. I'm pumped. So production team, I am all in. I'm a little bit lazy, but I'm completely dedicated and I am all in. So if you all can continue the hard work, especially you, Rick, thank you, the unsung hero, I'm in, and I will bring in people and I will continue to be Cami, for lack of a better clarifying statement on what it is that I do on the show. And this is something that I'm really enjoying. I had an epiphany as I was asking folks that I know and that I don't know to join us on the show. I thought, this is exciting. This is my demented introvert way of having social interaction with people that I deeply respect or miss or like, or sometimes all of the above. And I think it's okay that we're in different places. We just need to let one another share the energy.
Yeah, I don't disagree with any of that from a creative output standpoint. I enjoy creating the content. I think this is fun. Like, I like experimenting with things and kind of like either remembering things I used to know and re-engaging
Mm-hmm.
with them, or trying new things that I think might be effective. As we've mentioned several times, with this just being, this is just hobby. Like, this is fun to do, but I
Mm-hmm.
think where I'm struggling
There's literally a
is,
squirrel out the window. Sorry.
as there often are, there's there's not a lot of, and this is not putting anything on the production crew or the people who watch or any of that. There's little to no interaction from anyone besides when we're talking to a guest, right? And like,
Or
so,
Mahesh.
and so I enjoy highlighting interesting people whom we know that I feel like other people should be aware of or should be in contact with, or those kind of things. Like, giving those people the recognition and adulation that they deserve is the most compelling part of this to me. But it's hard for me not to tie that directly into the metrics of who's watching it, who's appreciating it, who's commenting on it.
So I think it's something that if we like, I'm not a metrics I understand the importance of metrics, but I'm a feelings person. And I love it when we can bring metrics into feelings and feelings into metrics and have
Mm-hmm.
everything balance out. But I think that something that's about to start happening that will be really interesting for both of us is that we're about to start, even though we've brought on a bunch of my friends and a few of your friends, both of us have in some way known every person that we brought
Mm-hmm.
onto the
Right.
show.
Yep.
That's about to become a departure.
Mm-hmm.
We're about to bring on people. I booked someone this morning that I have never met. Rick knows
Mm-hmm.
them,
Mm-hmm.
but I've never even spoken to them. And I just cold contacted them and was like, "Hey, Rick and I have talked about this for a long time. Hi, mildly interesting people. Blah blah blah. Will you join the show?" Never
Yep.
met her. Super excited to have her on the show. Um, and I'm also bringing a couple of people on the show that you've actually never met and not even really heard that much about from
Right.
me. And I think that that is going to give you a little, that's something I was looking for in this round of bookings. I think that's going to give
Mm-hmm.
us both a little emotional zhuzh. You need
I
sustained growth.
Yeah, and it's just kind of the like, I need sustained growth, or I need to hit a point where I'm like, oh, this isn't growing anymore and I'm comfortable with that. Like, Silicon Florist is a great example of something I enjoy doing, basically a hobby side project. For the longest time I was driven by growth on that, which kind of kept me going and was exciting. And then, for the past 10 years or so, Silicon Florist has been pretty consistently the same, either the same people who've always been there or people transitioning out and new people coming in enough that it's the
At
same
the same rate.
the
Yeah.
same audience. Like, it's the same audience size, it's often the same audience demographics. And I think the thing I want to keep pushing toward with this podcast is, and YouTube and whatever, is like, these are really fucking awesome people that we're talking to. And
Right.
we are lucky enough to have these people in our lives, or have had contact with these people at some point, they
Somewhere in our
do
network. Yeah.
they do work that we appreciate. Maybe sometime in the future we have people that neither you nor I know personally, but we appreciate the work they do and the people they are, and we believe they need to be highlighted and deserve
I have a
some of
wish
that.
list of those people.
Yeah, and deserve some of that limelight. And I want to build a platform that, and we've talked about this before, like, I want to continue this hobby and to continue highlighting people who deserve that recognition, no matter how well or poorly this goes. Like, that's my whole inspiration. And so, yeah, I think that's why I get wrapped up in the metrics, is I'm just kind of like, well, you know, are we really getting those people any more attention?
Yeah.
Are we really giving them the the recognition that they truly deserve. And so I think that's what's driving me in the metrics regard. Like, I get to dink around with shorts and like muck around with our studio setups, and we forgot to turn on the lamp for you, which is something that we should do
Which
for
lamp?
your studio, the one behind you. So
Oh shit! Echo. Turn on lamp.
so, like, this isn't business to me. It's very much like, again, like Silicon Florist or any number of side projects I've done. I'm doing it because I'm passionate about an aspect of it. And yet, the only way I can judge whether I'm being successful is on these stupid subscription listening hours
Yeah.
growth metrics.
And where I feel like, and it's different where I feel the success. I don't look at the metrics. I listen to Rick. He really loves the metrics. I feel successful when we've had a conversation with a person and we stop recording and they're like, wow, that was so much fun. Thank you. I feel successful. I feel like we're doing what we need to be doing when someone who we've talked to expresses that it was fun for them or that they learned something new,
Mm-hmm.
or that this was a positive experience. And I like that it's recorded and I like that we're putting it out there. And I think that we're going to have some person on the show who someday is like blows up. I think back to when we did a basically a telethon, a live telethon. We did two of them to raise funds for nonprofits in the Oregon area. And we had a comedian who was just a Portland comedian at the time. Uh, and Ron Funches, who's now like a powerhouse celebrity dude, and he came on and he was the floating stoned head of Jesus basically on the show. We had a green screen. He was wearing a green shirt. And I looked back to that. It was like 11 o'clock at night. We were recording in an office building in downtown Portland in the middle of the night, because we couldn't be in the square in the middle of the night. And I just remember like anytime I see something and Ron Funches pops up, I'm like, that's solid. It brings me joy that like we were in touch with something that was going to be
Mm-hmm.
so explosive at some point.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't need to benefit from that, but I love to see the progression of humans. And I love to see what amazing people are doing because what I seek from this is not what other people might seek from this.
Right.
So we need to use your metrics to make sure that this is growing, but please know that I'm enjoying what we're doing. I'm happy. And I think we're bringing joy to the people that we're interviewing and to the
Mm-hmm.
people who are watching. So that audience might not keep growing, but I do believe that the people who are engaged with us, who are being interviewed by us, and who are engaging in the process externally are getting something from it. And I want to I want to make sure that no matter what we do growth wise, we don't abandon that principle.
Right. No, I agree. Like, I think you have a very reasonable and mature perception of whether this is worth doing or not. Like, I enjoy it. I can just feel the grind coming. Like, I can feel like there's going to be some point in the not too distant future where I'm going to be like, the interview is fun, but I have to edit that episode.
My workload is way more sustainable than yours.
And mine is also like the riddle of, can I figure this shit out? Like, this isn't rocket science. Like, there's something, you do things
But you're
certain
learning as you
ways.
go.
Yeah, and you're doing, and that's part of the hobby for me too, is just figuring out like, oh, this is how this thing works. And it's
Yeah.
not so cryptic or magic. It's just like, oh, these are how you do the things to make the things work.
Yeah.
So that could be part of the metrics too, is just like, I'm not good at that part of it yet. I'm good at interviewing. I'm good at, like, I'm decent at editing, and I'm getting better at post effects and those kind of things. And I get better with editing every single time. And I'm starting to develop those, like, oh, here's the routine to make this edit work more effectively, get it done more quickly. Like, I'm starting to understand those dynamics and those workflows, which are super helpful.
Yeah.
And my brain is starting to go, oh, you could do this thing with this thing, and it would be cute and keep people engaged and blah blah blah. So that's all entertaining. The interviewing's entertaining. I think probably where I'm feeling the frustration is more the challenge of the platforms we have chosen to release our content that I'm trying to learn or understand.
I felt like you needed to get that out and get that off your chest.
Mildly interesting people.
Cheaper than
It's cheaper
therapy.
than therapy. Yeah, and this is our part where we're test driving content for future episodes. So we call this section mildly interesting questions. This is really designed when we are asking these questions to wildly interesting people who are guests on our show, designed to draw out more of their personality, get an idea of how they think about things. When Cami and I ask one another mildly interesting questions, we're test driving new questions for future episodes, but we're also, like any good lawyer, asking questions we often know the answer to. We're just trying to see how the other person is going to respond. So, with that in mind, 5 questions each. I ask, Kimmy asks me first, and
Nope.
then you
No.
ask me first, and then I
I
ask
asked you
you.
first?
Yeah, because otherwise you get flustered and like
Oh, thank
can't.
goodness. This is much less stressful. I had forgotten the order that we went in, and I thought I had to go first.
No, I go first with
Okay,
questions. I
fantastic.
go first with no.
I
You go first with questions.
I asked the questions first.
Yes. This
Yes.
is this is only like our 500th production meeting at this time. You'd think we'd have it down, but we we've been meaning to create an agenda, and perhaps we should do that. So
Even though it happens the same way every week, you'd think we'd know, but we don't.
it's tough. We have a lot going on. So Cami will ask me 5 questions of her
Have
choosing.
them right here.
Lightning round. I need to respond as quickly as I can, just off the cuff. If I get stuck and I'm like struggling, then like Family Feud, I can say pass, which means we'll come back to that question or questions if I pass several at the end. But there is no escaping the questions because there's no time clock. There's no end to it for me. In this version of it, we'll get into probably some decent descriptions on why we responded the way we did. And if you're like, look, I don't care, I just want the responses, this will also show up in a YouTube short and a reel and maybe
Yeah.
on the TikToks. Like, you never can tell. Wherever people are publishing the short form video content these days, those questions and answers might show up in rapid succession.
I think
Cami, you
it's
had
funny that you
something?
talk a lot more on camera than you do at home.
Well, if
I mean, we
I
are at home, but like you talk so much on camera, and at home you're very quiet. So I think that's an interesting. I just wanted to put that interesting factoid out there.
do you want me to record an episode where I only talk as much as I do at home? It's just these
That'd be really painful and awkward.
awkward silences for like minutes at a time. Anyway, uh, so so 5 questions, rapid, get to pass. Cami asked me first. I asked Cami second. Um, if you don't want the long form, they're available in shorts. We're test driving questions for future guests. Did I miss anything,
No, but
Cami?
I would like to add that you might think of this section also as the mildly interesting people cheaper than therapy section. So we
Mm,
might really dig down into the questions and have conversations about the other person's answer as well as just answering them. So
right.
just be prepared for that.
So every question is phrased as, "Tell me how you feel about blah
Your
blah."
mother.
It's not. It's not that way. Okay. So, oh, and here's the other part, and you will notice it here, production crew. The production crew can submit questions to Cami for me if they want, and as per usual, our gold star A+ time code king has come around again with
His
another question for me.
My first question this week is actually from our production VIP. Mahesh. So let's dive in.
he's kind of moving up into senior status in the production
Yes.
crew. Not that this is a competition. Like, we love all of our production crew equally.
We
It's
don't.
just some folks are more engaged than others. So,
and we like them better than we like others.
Cami likes them better. I'm cool with all.
He doesn't like
It's
anybody.
cool.
He barely likes me.
I like you all the same.
Wait, you like me the same as you like everyone else?
No, I like all the production crew. The talent is not, technically you're not part of the production crew.
Then
You're
why
just
am I in
here,
the production meeting?
you're just here to supervise and provide feedback. This is for us.
All right.
This is for us
Okay.
behind the scenes folks to get our stuff together.
Question number 1.
Ready.
Contribution from our production team. Thank you so much, Mahesh. Another fantastic question. I'm very excited about this one. Rick, why the purple light in your videos? Is purple your favorite color?
I like purple. Not like in a Prince kind of purple. Like, I'm not as obsessed with it as he was. But fact of the matter is, great question. It's a holdover from the original days of the pandemic when we created a kind of threw together a studio with a table and some games like Clue and Sorry and
boxes
whatever
to stack
game
it high.
boxes to stack it high so we could record at eye level on our laptops. And there was just, Cami had plants behind me, and at some point we randomly just turned the plant lights on and we're like, oh, that actually looks pretty good. And so we just
they were on because the plants needed the light because this is Oregon.
See them.
Yeah,
down there.
So he has stolen some of my plant lights.
This is behind the scenes. Look, that's the movie magic at work right there. Those plant lights. So, yeah, I just like that. I like the purple background. I think it works. It's magenta, kind of.
Thank you. All right.
Oh, sure.
Next question. Would you rather? Would you rather have neighbors that are nosy but quiet, or loud but mind their own business?
Loud but mind their own business.
Excellent.
That's easy.
Cool. Yeah, this one's great. I'm very excited. And if you need any additional information, please let me know. I'll try to be as clear as possible.
Clarifying question. Do I get to yell at the neighbors who are loud? And do they still mind their own business?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, then definitely that.
Fantastic. All right. If we went on Family Feud for mildly interesting people, who would you bring on as the team? For additional information, there are always 5 people, and you have to be one of them.
All right. This is not the exact same question I have, but it's very close to a question I have for this week. So we've finally hit that point.
Where I think we should still both do them, but
okay, yeah. It's a slightly different answer.
Okay,
but you have to bring family members on.
But sometimes they do like celebrity stuff, or like something from a television episode, so it's a special. And so if they were like, we're bringing mildly interesting people on, so it can be anyone from mildly interesting people, production crew, guests, whatever. If we had to go on Family Feud as mildly interesting people, like the cast of Passions, that old soap opera that I used to watch when I was pregnant 21 years ago, 22 years ago, they once came on Family Feud against another soap opera team. And the people weren't related. They were just all cast members. So if we did a mildly interesting people appearance on Family Feud, Steve Harvey, we are open.
Celebrity Family Feud.
Yeah. Who would the 4 people joining you be?
Well, it's you and me, so it's only 3 people.
Well, you didn't have to bring me, so that makes it easier. Now you only have to answer 3 more people.
Jordan Hales is quick on her feet.
Oh, she is. Rick, Cami, Jordan, absolutely Jordan.
I feel like Kate Ertman doesn't think she's fast on her feet, but she has a encyclopedic level of knowledge.
Kate loves math. Okay.
So Kate loves math.
One more.
And then final, for any literary screenplay, kind of question. I'm going to say Mahesh is the whoever the person on the end is that also is
He's the anchor.
it's the anchor. I was trying to think on Tug of War what that person was called. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how's that?
That's very close. I really suspected that you would choose me.
Cool. Well,
I
well.
highly suspected that you would choose Jordan and Mahesh. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know who the additional person was going to be. I'm delighted that it's Kate.
Cool. Awesome.
Excellent.
Well,
Okay.
and I will have a Family Feud flavored question
I'm
during
so
my set
excited.
too.
This is so the day has finally come.
Slightly different. Not the
Okay.
same question, just slightly different.
Okay. You're going to love this one. Question number 4. You have to adopt a pet. What kind of animal would it be? Rick loves animals. I'm going to take a moment to do some exposition. Rick loves animals. He just doesn't want animals. He doesn't like the additional added responsibility. He doesn't like things that wake him up in the middle of the night. He doesn't like cleaning up people's poop or pee or making sure that like something is completely dependent on him for feeding. He doesn't want to be bothered. He's completely kind and wonderful to other people's animals, and he's so sweet to Spike. But we have Spike because I've had Spike for 18 years. Which means I've had Spike longer than I've had Rick. So, yeah. So you have to have a pet. It has to be a living creature.
Mm-hmm.
What do you adopt?
A guppy.
A guppy. Why specifically a guppy and not some other kind of fish?
Because they don't live very long. And you don't really have to take care of them.
I figured you were going to go with something that had a very short lifespan. So
yeah, I'm not going to go like tortoise that I have to take care of for the next 100 years. No.
You have to take care of your entire life, and then you have to make provisions for it in your will and leave it to someone who's going to live a long time, and they're probably going to have to leave it to somebody. Okay, a guppy. Question number 5, final question for this week.
Yes.
Rick, why do you hate sandals?
Sandals are just like shoes were designed to kind of like protect your feet, in my opinion. And sandals are like your foot is just there. And the other part is
be honest.
In the late 80s, early 90s, like Birkenstocks were super popular, kind of like they've become popular again. And so I feel like I was just subjected to too many unclothed feet. So I don't really like them. And I like the only time I like wearing sandal-esque kind of things is if I'm doing some kind of like boat thing or creek river thing. Like I understand the utility of that, but just getting out of bed and being like, I think I'm going to wear sandals today, like that does not compute to me at all.
That is my 5 questions for the week. You did exceptionally well. I thought at least something would stump you a little, but no, you flew. You flew. Well done.
Thanks. Your energy level feels a little low. Are you doing okay? Are you feeling like ostracized from the production crew or something?
I don't know.
Do you need a group hug from the production crew?
Okay. Can I have a group hug?
I don't know.
I don't like people touching me, but
you have to ask in comments if the production crew. We need consent before you start touching the production crew.
I just don't like to. Well, I don't like touching people.
Okay, here we go. Mildly interesting questions for Cami. The first question I will get out of the way immediately because it's very similar to a question that Cami asked me. So let's.
Was it originally your first question?
Yeah, I haven't reoriented anything. Okay. It was originally, yeah. All right. So it's not the same question.
Okay.
What is the composition of the perfect Family Feud team by relative? So you're like, these are the relatives I should pick to be on my team. You have to pick 4.
So do I have to pick my own relatives?
You have to pick relatives because that's how regular Family Feud works.
Okay. But you're asking me to like actually say these are the relatives I would choose because I can do it.
No.
Oh, no, just the composition of it.
I am saying, and it doesn't even have to be from your family. It can be like, I've noticed in the 12,000 episodes of Family Feud that I've watched that if grandpa's on the team, they usually win.
Okay. So what I've noticed is the most uh, diverse set of answers come when someone's not all raised up in the same household. So when you have
Mhm.
like the mom, the dad, and then their three children, they're all going to think very similarly. Not always, but they're going to think very similarly. So I'm a huge fan of bringing in cousins. I'm a huge fan of bringing in brother-in-law, sister-in-law situation. I'm a huge fan of like just kind of like uh, with anything, making your team as diverse as you can from your family pool. But also, like, you all have that one person in your family who's fantastic and amazing and smart, but can't answer anything on the spot and gets every single time. Don't bring that person. This is a competition. Family Feud is a game show. It's a competition. I'm not even a competitive person, but you go on that shit to win. You bring the people who can answer those questions.
Don't
Please.
embarrass your front. You're don't
Don't
embarrass your
embarrass your
front.
family.
Don't
Bring
embarrass
the people who are
yourself.
going to answer the questions. And if you know that you suck and can't answer those questions, not suck. That was awful. Gosh. Um, Family Feud is my favorite game show. In case anyone didn't already pick up on that. Jeopardy is a close second. It's
Hmm.
very smart. Jeopardy is very smart. I miss Alex Trebek.
Hmm.
But Family Feud, also, I love the Steve Harvey Family Feud. I loved Richard Dalton. Louis was
Dawson.
fine. But I love Steve Harvey as the host of Family Feud.
It's Dawson. Richard
What did
Dawson.
I call him?
Dalton.
Oh, Richard Dawson. I got I got the first name right and at least the first letter of the last name right. I'm going
I
to
will
consider
forgive
that a
you.
win.
I will forgive you, given that you were tortured with the Timothy Dalton James Bond
I
while you were a
was
child.
Timothy. I was supposed to. I have theories that everyone's favorite Bond is like based on who the Bond was when they were a kid. My Bond should have been Timothy Dalton, and I rejected it.
Mhm. Yep. Yep.
My Bond is Pierce Brosnan.
Remington Steele.
Remington Steele. All
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
Question number
Next.
2.
Next question.
Great question, by the way.
Thank you. I don't know that you can answer this quickly, but I'm going to encourage you
Oh,
to
I
try.
found my black pen.
Oh, that wasn't the question. Where's your black pen? Oh, there it is. Okay, so here's the question. What, in your mind, is the enduring appeal of the Addams family?
I don't know that I can answer this quickly because there are so many feelings around this for me.
I mean, you
Wow.
look at it, it's like there was the original series, you saw kind of the movie reboot kind of stuff. Like there have been any number of permutations, and then there's the new Wednesday thing that everybody's all psyched about. Like it's had a
Jenna
significant run.
Ortega is amazing in that. I mean, just I it was really good. So I have been a fan of the Addams family since like my childhood watching the old reruns black and white TV. For me, I think the appeal is that it is something it's a family that has real love and harmony with one another, right? They're all very close, they're all very engaged, but
Hmm.
they're different than everyone else. And my family never sought to be the Joneses or the Smiths or the family next door. I was very much raised, thank you, mom and dad, to believe that I should be happy, to believe that I should be me and not that I should conform to someone else's idea of who I am.
Hmm.
That's not something that a lot of children are raised with. And I feel incredible amounts of gratitude for that every day, and very much tried to instill that same system into my child. And I think that the longevity of the Adams family is for people like that who either grew up pushed into a mold that needed to break out of it, or grew up not having to be in that mold and appreciating seeing someone else who wasn't in it. Because, yeah, I mean, it's a stretch. We don't have like dead people and their wardrobes in our closets. We don't have a hand. I want one. I bet you Thing gives an amazing massage. All that, ooh. But there's just so much love there, and they're outcasts, and that's something that I have always identified with since my earliest memories.
That's what we
Did I
do.
answer your question?
You did. I think my and I was honestly curious. Like this wasn't a oh I know what Cammy's going to say. This was more a my exposure to the Adams family was always in and I mean there was Adams family and the Munsters who are kind of contemporary
I also enjoyed the
similar,
monsters greatly.
but I think the thing, even though I didn't grow up in the 50s, when I was a kid, there was this like 50s renaissance where they were re-showing all of that stuff, right? And from my perspective, the most interesting part was their juxtaposition against Leave It to Beaver and My Three Sons and all those other
Yes.
shows that were very white bread, perfect family, perfect life kind of
But also
shows.
disempowering to women. The Adams
Right.
family has never been disempowering to women.
Yep.
The relationship in our TV room, I have an embroidered art piece by Shanna Lee Hampton, a Portland artist. It's Gomez and Morticia together. And to me, Gomez and Morticia are like the ultimate beautiful couple
Mm-hmm.
because she wants to like take over the world with her evil power, but she still wants to like, be home and be with her children and be with her husband and be with her family. She wants to have it all. And Gomez supports that. And at no point is he like, you're a woman, you can't do that. He's like,
Mm-hmm.
whoa, you do whatever you want to, babe. Love you.
Yep.
And I just thought that that was such a uncommon and beautifully empowering message when I was a child that I still a lot of old television shows and movies from back in our youth we look back on and we're like, oh, that did not hold up. That's
Yep.
not something that's appropriate. You couldn't make it now. And the Adams family had the values that I feel like I have, or at least I remember. I should go watch the original ones and see if I feel that way. But it made me feel like the world would be okay.
That just cracked me up because isn't one of them called Adam's Family Values? Isn't that one of the
Yes.
movies? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, the movie is called Adam's Family Values, and we're watching it when you are done recording.
I've got some editing to do afterward.
No, we're watching it. Sorry,
All right. Okay.
you're
That
watching
one's
it.
checked. That one's checked off the list. Thanks for your response
I'm
to
not
the
going to make
Adams
you watch
Family.
it, but thank you. That question touched all of the components of my heart.
Well, this one's going to touch the last component that it didn't touch,
Uh-oh.
whatever that means. So here we go.
Okay.
Who is your favorite Tekken character, either to play or to fight?
June is my favorite Tekken character to play.
Who's your favorite one to fight?
Jack, because
Jack
he's
or
slow. If
Jack
he hits
or
you,
Jack 2?
Jack 2. If Jack
Jack 2.
2 hits you, he will kill you. But like if you're playing June, especially, you can wallop that robotic piece of blonde shit. You just
Even
take
when
him down.
even when he does that butt scoot thing?
Yes. You have to avoid getting hit by the butt scoot and the
Yeah.
arm slam.
Yeah.
But he's slower than the others. And so if you're one of the speedier characters, I also do enjoy playing King. I don't like fighting King because King always whomps my ass.
Yeah. Well, and Kuma is fun
Oh,
too.
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Good answer.
Oh,
Check that off. Where would Ferris Bueller go for a day off in Portland?
the Japanese gardens would definitely be on the list,
Okay.
much like he visited an art museum.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to say a Timbers game. Portland, we're not huge on baseball, but the Timbers are solid. The Portland Art Museum is also nice. South Park might be a good lunch spot, but if if Ox was open for lunch, I think that might be a choice that he would make, or Les Pigeons.
So
The
you've got the
Children's Museum.
sports. Yeah, you've got the sports. You've got
No, not the
the
Children's Museum, OMSI. And the place
OMSI.
in OMSI, the floor where they have like the womb that you walk through the whole reproductive system. I can definitely see him doing all of the interactive bits of the OMSI experience. And if you're in Portland and you've never been to OMSI, please go to OMSI. It's an amazing experience.
It
If you
really
don't
is.
have to bring children and you're over 21, go do OMSI after dark. It is so much fun.
And our friend Aunt Lindsay is there now too, doing
doing the science lab.
Kids programming for science
Yeah.
lab stuff, which is amazing as well.
We should have Aunt Lindsay on the show. Just saying.
We should. Yeah, no, I don't disagree. I'm trying to think through all the elements. I think you've done a good job of covering off on.
I tried to hit the parade, but like our only real parade is the Rose Festival parade, and that happens on the weekends.
But it's still during the school year, so like
yeah,
I think
it's at the end of the school year. Okay.
I was worried you were going to have him go to the naked bike ride.
No, I'm not comfortable with that. I don't want to see Ferris Bueller naked. I don't want to see Cameron naked either.
Final question. You can only pick one. Identity, Supremacy, Ultimatum, or the eponymous Jason Bourne?
Identity, I think. Wait, no. I don't remember all the names of the movies, and I know exactly which one Identity is. It's good. It's really good.
Plot.
You know the one where it's after the girlfriend dies and he's like bare knuckle fighting in the sand with people.
Mm-hmm.
That one.
That's
just
Jason
for that fight
Bourne.
scene. That's Jason Bourne.
That's literally 5 seconds of Jason Bourne.
I know, but it's the best scene from any of the movies. Well, no. Okay. No, I'm gonna go back to Identity. Identity is the first one, right? Because the fight scene in his apartment is as good as so I'm gonna stick with Identity, but I'm gonna say that I'm gonna give a shout out, special mention to the bare knuckled sand fight scene.
You made it. Despite all your anxiety and anxiousness, you made it through yet another set of mildly interesting questions. As always, these have been tabulated, checked off our various lists.
Do you score me? Is there a scoring system? No? Okay.
It's either it hasn't been asked or it has been asked. And then it is...
I just want to know I'm doing well. Am I doing well?
You're doing fine. I think I could go back through, but I
don't
would
want
have
to do fine. I want to do great. I want to be exceptional at answering your questions.
Okay, cool. So that's that. So now we can get on to the production meeting. Thanks for being patient, production crew. I can't talk today. I don't know what
I forgot my question statement. I forgot the thing I was so excited to say. And I think I lied and said I wrote it down.
I told you to jot it down for the production meeting. This is what you do in the production meeting. You have your pen. You say, I have a production idea.
I didn't know where my pen was until halfway through the show.
So first and foremost, I would like to talk about our live chat episode and how you feel that went. For folks who don't know, for 420,
I remembered.
We had a live chat episode where we premiered a conversation with the guest, Mark Lewis, who is a rocket scientist who has taken that knowledge to improve the experience.
I just wrote down Mark's name for some reason. I don't know why I did that.
Cool. Who is working to improve the experience for folks who consume cannabis. So we're like,
it's a smokeless smoke.
So we were like, well, for 420, let's premiere this. Let's watch along with whoever wants to attend, and we'll hang out in live chat. And my assumption it would just be me and Cami chatting with one
and
another.
Maybe Mark if he was able to show up. Yeah.
But happily, a few people popped by, so I thought it was a good experiment. I think it's worth trying in the future.
Can I say hi to some people? Hi, Clea. Hi, Mahesh. Hi, Shashi. I'm missing someone really important.
Harvey came by.
Oh my gosh, hi Harvey! It had been so long since I had seen Harvey's avatar show up somewhere. That was lovely. Mark's wife.
What is the next phase of this experiment from your perspective?
So Rick is asking a leading question that he kind of knows some of the answer to, and that's okay.
I don't.
So we talked about this morning over fancy coffee. I think it went better than I anticipated. I thought it was going to be you and me and Mark sitting in a room. And then Clea said she was going to show up, and I was like, cool, it'll be you and me and Mark and Clea. And even that was worth it for me because it was exciting. And other people showed up. And the other people who showed up are just the people who actually typed and communicated. I don't know if anyone other than that showed up. And it was fun. I enjoyed it.
Okay.
It didn't feel like a live studio audience, which I greatly enjoy.
Yeah.
But it had that same like, Ooh. And so I would like to do it again. And I would propose that we do it again with a guest whose initials are BDJ for Star Wars Day,
Okay.
which, in
I
case you don't know, it's May the 4th. Be with you.
I do wonder if maybe doing it in the evening as opposed to four
Well,
o'clock
that's
in the
the magical
afternoon.
thing about Star Wars Day. We don't have to do it during the workday.
Right.
And I
I
have
feel like
blocked out our recording schedule so that we don't record accidentally on a Thursday.
okay.
So yeah, let's.
So should we just plan that May the 4th is the next live premiere day?
I think we should and
Okay.
test it out. So all of you, if you're not doing anything on the evening of May the 4th, I don't know what time I'm thinking, 7?
That might be too late for East
Too late?
Coasters.
So
So
6, 9 o'clock for the East Coast.
6-ish. Yeah.
6-ish.
Cool. So you had a production note.
I think
Did
it
you
was
space
just,
it again?
yeah, I mean, primarily I think it was just about Rick and I each have our strengths. And I don't have strengths. You don't have
I was just
strengths.
gonna. I don't have strengths.
Rick, you do.
I have mediocre qualities.
You have mediocre qualities that you channel well into creating this podcast, because there are 2 points of work that I do. I show up as the talent,
Mhm.
and then I book. And I think we talked a few weeks ago that we were going to book a bunch of Rick people, and it just didn't happen because Rick is often Rick is shy and introverted, in case y'all didn't pick up on that.
Mhm.
And outreach is not his favorite thing, especially outreach for something that seems like a personal motivation. So he will reach out to folks and talk to folks and connect dots if there's nothing in it for him. But if it is to benefit him, I think he's physically incapable of moving forward. And so I took it upon myself and reached out to a bunch of amazing folks this weekend, a few from Rick's list, a few from my list. And I have booked like the next, I don't know, maybe 2 months of shows at this point.
Cool.
And I'm really excited. I'm super excited. We have some amazing guests coming up.
The other thing we wanted to do for the production crew is kind of keep you up to date just from a metric standpoint, like what we're seeing with the show. Just trying to kind of keep you in the loop with this as we develop it. And if you have ideas or ways to help or that kind of thing, we would love to hear it. If you've watched this far and you haven't subscribed, I don't know why, but
I don't know where you've watched this far.
yeah, exactly. That's your prerogative. So just to kind of, or if you're listening on the podcast, I'm going to go. Last week, I kind of did well, we're kind of here and this is kind of what's going on. And I want to give you like accurate real time numbers as of the time we're recording this. So we are on the YouTube channel, Mildly Interesting People's currently at 201 subscribers.
We broke 200.
So we did break 200. That's the that's the big one there. We over the last 28 days have had 37.8 thousand views and 318 watch hours. So those are the stats.
Wait, 37,000
views.
37,000 views?
Views in the last 28 days.
That's fantastic. For us,
I mean,
that's real growth. I thought you meant 3,700, and I was like, okay, that's fine. 37,000? 37,000?
Yes. Views.
Huh. Thank you, people. And that's just the views. Thank you. Oh.
And we've had 318 hours of watch time, which I just did the math is almost 2 weeks of watch time in the last 28 days. So that's on the YouTube side.
I couldn't watch us for that long.
Yeah. Trust me, neither could I. So on the other side of things, on the podcast, we are at 825 plays currently. So that's across all podcasting platforms. I think our most popular one is Apple Podcasts, and then we're on Spotify and Overcast and all those others. But across all of those 825 plays of the podcast, which is
Of the
great.
audio podcast.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
great. So that's the production meeting for this week, folks. As always, no idea why you. As
We have
always,
no idea why you're still here, but we thank you for joining us. We really
thank,
appreciate you much more than we are mildly interesting. We are super appreciative. See you next week.
thanks for translating for me. I appreciate that.